Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Trade the Chain. Sorry, we're a couple of minutes late. We were discussing some very important crypto news items. But today is actually a crazy bullish day because 11 companies for $700 million raised announced in the last 24 hours. If you guys aren't feeling different about the market right now, I don't know what's going to change your attitude. I will say that, we are facing a little resistance right now. I'm sure CJ, for our crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com, will go over it. But then I want to hear Ryan's comments and his ideas on these 11 companies and this massive total of capital raised, because it seems like it's almost like a sneak attack bullish summer that this is turning out to be. So we'll see. And of course, I'd love to give a shout out to Big TCO7. Yes, I still can't pronounce your name, but thank you very much, sir. Let's get this money, y'all. And Chef Dan, Sleepy Puppy, and the rest of the crowd, we're always glad to see you. But first, let's hit the legals, get that out of the way. I thought Ryan had this down like memorized.
I do. I was just waiting for the disclaimer to pop up on the screen. And there we are. Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice and should not be construed as such.
It's education, guys. Educational, informative purposes only.
I do want to give one quick shout out. I don't know if anybody took the time or saw it, caught it last night, but I spent an hour and a half over on the finance channel. Daniel, who hosts that channel, along with DJ Crypto and Digital Doji. Man, it was really cool to meet those guys. Let's call it screen to screen for the first time and chat. But I got to tell you, those VGX heroes, there's some energy in that room right there. So thanks for having me, guys, and for making me a VGX hero. So just like CJ's one and Ryan is one, although yeah. I'm questioning Ryan's character that he picked. But
my son loves Carl the Crab. If it makes my son happy, then it makes me happy.
It was interesting what Steve said yesterday night. I didn't get a chance to catch it yet. Might watch it after this, but I had some viewers in the Market Rebellion community who had seen it and were talking about it and said Steve Ehrlich was actually pretty bullish. Obviously he's not trading. He can't. He's the CEO of a multi-million-dollar startup. He's got other things to do during the day than just sit at home like me and watch price. Nevertheless, I think he was very bullish in his outlook in the markets, and I think there's a lot to be said to that point. So why don't we get into the analysis and discuss some other things with you guys?
Let's get it.
All right. I guess I'll jump into the screen sharing. Go ahead and share my window here. So going down to our platform here, I'm actually going to showcase TradingView for a minute. Going down to our platform here, we have busted straight through this critical area of resistance from roughly 34 to 36K. Now the smooth moving average is turning up and it is giving us support in this range. So in terms of a long trade, we are at a sequential 8 of 9. Typically when we see 9s, we see them as a catalyst in the direction of the trend before a potential reversal or at least reversion to the moving average, right? That would be the practical thing that Bitcoin would do, judging by technical analysis. Although Bitcoin is not always rational with its moves. So, I'm not going to rule out, this 42 being the interim top. I think that, irrationally, the bulls could certainly rally even up to 45K. I'm not betting on that. I'm not taking out a long right now, but I do see the merits of it. I think the one thing you just have to keep in mind is that the higher price goes and deviates from the moving average, the more risky a new long trade becomes. So in the short term, I'm not going to chase this rally. I have no problem scaling in here from a long-term perspective, but when you have declining volume, almost a sequential 9 on that indicator, as well as just a stale green light with what we're getting here in these candles, it seems as if a regression to the mean or this 20 smooth moving average is in order. So if we get a bounce off this and officially set that new higher low, I have a very high conviction that we've hit a bottom and we can say that a bottom is in. I'll even go right now and say that a bottom is likely in, because I truly do feel that it is based on what we're seeing from a technical perspective. So that's kind of my outlook on Bitcoin. Last thing I'll flash on the weekly chart here is just the Keltner channels. You guys remember the Keltner channels?
Just like I remember the honey hole that you won't bring back.
Oh, God. Yeah, we never hit it either. We never hit it.
Nope.
So that was interesting. But the Keltner channel, and this goes for a lot of, pretty much anything, any indicator like Bollinger Bands that revolves around a 20 simple period moving average. But on the weekly chart, we are running into a little bit of tentative resistance at the middle band. But ultimately, what we want to look here for in the coming weeks is a consolidation above this middle band, like what we saw here after COVID, and then potentially a breakout to officially start a potential parabolic run to 100,000. So, this is what we want to see. We're not getting it on the weekly chart just yet because, of course, the weekly chart is not going to move as fast as the daily in terms of moving averages and so forth. But that's kind of what I'm seeing, a little short-term bearish neutral. But long-term, I have no problem accumulating at these levels and scaling into positions. I've been doing it this week and last week, and I continue to do so, going forward these next couple of days. So that's what I'm seeing.
The past week has been a great opportunity for people to, exercise some of their dollar cost averaging strategies as well. Because, this kind of sideways volatility, it enables people to get in and out of positions pretty quickly without, too much slippage. So I know a lot of my friends who are in the market who are more long-term holders, that's something that they've been discussing with me quite a bit. So it's something to keep in mind as well.
What are we looking at for Ethereum now? Because I will say that I look at sentiment, and I'll show that graph after you're done, CJ. But it is positively like awesome. First of all, I love the fact from a trading perspective that sentiment has been leading Ethereum where it's been on par with Bitcoin. But yeah, it's doing some really cool stuff from a performance standpoint. What are your thoughts on that? And also, I'll just give you a heads up, if maybe we could see the DeFi lockup as well.
Yeah, we can get and discuss both of those. Going over the technicals of ETH, it's basically the same as Bitcoin. Let me pull up my window here. As you can see, we've officially negated the descending triangle. So why don't I go ahead and just delete that? And it frees the chart and the trend up quite a bit, but very similar to Bitcoin. We're reaching the sequential sell 9 tomorrow. Actually, not even tomorrow, only in like 5 hours when we get to 7 p.m. here Central Time. And so we will print a 9 very much like Bitcoin with a wide divergence from the moving average. The thing that I like a lot on the Ethereum chart is that we have this W bottoming pattern that is very characteristic of a lot of bottoms throughout technical analysis history and just stock market history in general. On a side note, did you guys see KWeb today and that chart of how like it's really hit capitulation? That was pretty interesting. And
I missed that.
Yeah, when you see a massive spike in volume like this is essentially the market saying, or the market participants saying to their brokers, get me out at any price. I don't care. This thing's going to zero. Get me out. That's what this volume spike kind of means. And that's pretty typical and indicative of bottoms. And we actually did see something like that in KWeb pretty recently. But got a little bit of resistance coming from that previous sell 9 up here, as you can see where we topped after kind of that trend. very similar thing going on here. And so you just got to watch out for those nines. But I really like the bottoming pattern that I'm seeing in Ethereum. And, I think the overall sentiment and what you're probably going to get into and discuss has a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to pull up this real quick. Ryan, what are your thoughts with Ethereum? I know you're a big ETH guy. This is your baby.
Sentiment has been surging on ETH, but there are significant concerns around some of the tech updates and problems devs are having with the London fork that were highlighted in a piece in CoinDesk today. And there isn't any guarantee that all of this is going to work as expected. And, I think you see some of the sentiment unease being priced into the market, right? Like sentiment has kind of gone down over the past 24 hours, even though prices fluctuated in a tighter range. So I'm kind of on the fence right now. I'm as much of an ETH maxi as anyone. It's my largest holding ETH, but I'm concerned. Let's put it that way. I'm not accumulating right now at these levels. I think I'm going to sit back, hold on to what I have, and see how the next week or two pans out before deciding what I would do. And I think that it looks like the market is largely doing that as well, at least over the past, say, 12, 15 hours.
I mean, look at the sentiment jump so far ahead of the price action right here, back on 26. I mean, this was so profound. It
was incredible, really.
Yeah,
to see that. That's something we highlighted in the community as well. That sentiment jump a couple hours before the price went. I mean, the community had such a leg up on that if they were paying attention to the sentiment data.
One of the things I want to bring up now that before we head into the DeFi lockup is check out what's going on for the day as far as the bullish. I mean, Filecoin. I remember Filecoin. I was doing some Filecoin trading a couple months back. Here we're showing it 86% or 86 points on the daily. Litecoin, I know Landon's a fan. I don't trade it, don't own it. 1 inch has been, I will tell you, from early morning, 1 inch has been a contender here on the short-term positive sentiment and price action.
So Filecoin, I think a lot of that might have to do because the price has jumped over the past 24 hours. Marta Belcher, who is their lead counsel, I think, she was testifying yesterday on Capitol Hill to the Senate Banking Committee during those crypto testimonies during the hearing. And to begin with, she basically gave the elevator pitch for Filecoin and how it works and how it will change the internet. So I can imagine that potentially quite a few people that weren't aware of Filecoin became well aware of it rather quickly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll get the sentiment pop right as the testimony began around late morning.
I will say that, Rob dug deep in this over at Digital Asset News. He did a little thing on Filecoin, and it really does have, from what their use case is, I really like what the project's about and where it's going. So it's going to be interesting to follow. Also, one quick thing I want to bring up, guys. This is from news from the other day. Was Thorchain, Rune. Okay, now we just did an episode about and highlighted the fact there was 3 hacks in 30 days. I mean, I don't know what's going on. People are continuing, I guess, to have trust in it because price has not fallen out like I thought it would. Ryan,
the founders really took a lot of people and a lot of tech to task. They came out on Twitter and just came fighting like guns a-blazing. And, there was some pushback from it, but it appears that their community is kind of galvanized around that, and they appreciate that in some weird way.
I guess that was some good PR move.
I guess. I don't know. I still wouldn't buy it.
Neither would I. All right, back to you, CJ. And I don't know, maybe we'll close out with one of the old ETrade Baby commercials. It's new to you guys, but last night we were talking about some Voyager marketing. And I don't know if you guys remember 10, 11, 12 years ago, the ETrade Baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of the funniest commercials ever. I got one teed up. We'll close out the episode with one.
I never saw that, so I'll definitely have to look it up. I was a little young back then, but Steve had some great marketing. I wish I could talk more about VGX because I'm loving what I see in the chat right now. You guys are great. Yeah, anything else you guys would like to bring to the table here?
The DeFi Pulse part, yeah.
Oh yeah, the DeFi lockup, and then just 2 quick questions for you, CJ. It's funny because we talked about it pre-show, but 2 viewer questions on the Chia.
Yeah, let me here. I'm getting the DeFi lockup charts.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love this streaming software, StreamYard. It just takes like 5 seconds to pull up each chart. Okay, here we go. Total locked in DeFi. So obviously we had the massive parabolic climb. Started with DeFi summer back in 2020, and then peak really happened in May, right? With the entire peak in the market. Now, if we scroll to, let's look at the 90-day, you see the peak in May. We can see our first lower high, our second lower high. And now the thing that's pretty significant to me is that we're creating that same type of W pattern bottom that we have in Ethereum. That's very similar to what we're seeing on the DeFi Pulse Index. The fact that we've made a higher high here with 66 billion total locked with our previous high at 63, that's pretty significant. And I like it. I think it bodes well for the DeFi market collectively over the coming months, if this in fact was a bottom. But what are you guys thinking about the DeFi Pulse Index?
It appears to be mirroring, this is something I've said before, it appears to just be mirroring what's going on with the price of ETH largely, right? Not to a T, but we've noticed this correlation in the past when the price of ETH pops, the total value locked in DeFi pops, because naturally the value of those assets locked is going to go up even if no more are put in. So I'm just wondering, I wonder if we could get like an overlay, maybe not today, but an overlay of ETH's price performance on top of DeFi Pulse.
I think I might have something, Ryan. Just stay with me.
All right. With that, while he goes to find that, maybe what I'll do is give everybody a little treat. Hang on.
ETrade Baby?
ETrade Baby. Hang on. Here we go, folks.
Man, investors just like you could lose tens of thousands of dollars on their 401k to hidden fees. Thankfully, ETrade has low-cost investments and no hidden fees. But, if you're still bent on blowing this fat stack of cash, there's a couple ways you could do it. Or just go to ETrade and save it. Boom.
That was actually really funny.
We'll have another one at the end of the episode too. Those things I can watch all day long.
Didn't the first one come out on the Super Bowl? Like that was the first
Super Bowl ad right there.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. 30 seconds. I'll have it.
So while you're doing that, CJ, it might be worth talking about the fundraising, Alex, right? So I guess a total of 11 companies have announced over the past 24, 36 hours, give or take, more than $700 million worth of fundraisers. Some of them include Firebox at $300 million, Galaxy at $125 million, Prime Trust at $64 million. And then you have all kinds of other types of companies like digital wallets, rewards platforms, stablecoin exchanges, NFT gaming platforms. You have other infrastructure plays like Biconomy. And then you also have Galaxy Digital, which has announced that it has a $33 million VC fund that it's going to use to deploy funds all over. Stronghold Digital Mining has filed for $100 million IPO, which is a little different than VC funding, but yeah, I get what you're saying there with that. And, it looks like StormX, 9 million, which we gave a shout out to at the end of yesterday's episode. It just looks like all the pipes and platforms are finally really maturing and getting to a point where once the summer is through, once we get through everyone being on vacation and, hopefully, getting some of that cabin fever out of their system. Looks like it feels like the market is starting to get ready to take off because you have all these platforms, you have all this investment. So there was an article last week in CoinDesk by Ian Allison. $4 billion was pumped into crypto firms in Q2 by VCs. That's an all-time record, and it isn't even close. So what we don't see on the surface is happening beneath. It's like an iceberg, right? So everything is happening below the surface, and eventually, hopefully, we don't run aground or sink like the Titanic. But you get what I'm saying. Not just because the activity is not in the open doesn't mean that things aren't happening in the industry. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make when buying the top and selling the bottom, or just trying to time the market. And just be patient. Be patient. The pipes are being laid, the platforms are being built, and it feels like good things are to come. Things are starting to shape up for a nice run at the end of the year, though I do disagree with a lot of the exchange and other trading company execs quoted today in CoinDesk saying they still think we're hitting six-figure Bitcoin. I don't think that's happening. But that's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't listen to me necessarily, but that's just how I feel.
I saw that story. I didn't dig into it. I was wondering on how big the swath of the snapshot was that they pulled from.
At 8.
How many?
8 execs, 6 or 8.
Yeah. Okay. The amount of capital coming in and just having these 11 companies. And by the way, I wasn't plugging CoinDesk. We love the CoinDesk.
Absolutely.
I just happened to open up CoinDesk to look for an article that someone shared with me and saw 11 companies had announced raises. It was crazy, but that just goes to show the bullish momentum of the market. Go ahead.
Oh, and one more thing, UBS.
Did you see that?
They're offering prime brokerage services for crypto ETPs to European hedge funds. So clearing and settlements and all these other functions that have typically only been available through firms like Bquant or Galaxy Digital or other crypto native firms. You're now seeing it happen. You have State Street, Bank of New York, UBS. All these companies are starting to slowly creep in onto this, encroach on these crypto native firms spaces. And once these guys get involved, it's only a matter of time until their clients get involved.
I think, but I think UBS is actually the boldest of them all. I think that's the first bulge bracket bank to come out and actually step up to the plate and say, boom, we're doing prime brokerage service for ETPs in the EU for hedge funds. I think that's a big, big deal. And they're the most conservative, in my opinion. I thought they'd be last.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, having worked there for 4 years, I know how slow they move. We were just talking earlier this week about how we were on Windows NT in 2007. What is that? Come on. So for them to be moving this fast towards this type of service for the crypto space it's massive news. It's huge, because I think there's one other bank. I think Commerce is also doing something similar in Germany, but I don't think at the scale that UBS is doing it, because Commerce's VC arm is invested in a bunch of crypto companies, including Curve, before they were bought by PayPal. So,
CJ, give me the right screen, please.
That chart is finally ready to go.
There we go.
You see it here? All right. So this is like the market trend. So the blue is ETH, and this makes pretty good sense, right? Because the start of the bull market, we had all very similar performance, and then DeFi and those exotic assets in the DeFi perpetual index really made the most noise to start the cycle. Then they fall the most once the cycle kind of completes, and so they are the most volatile. ETH is still a really nice play though here, still performing pretty well. I have to say though, these are all indexes aside from Ethereum. Total 2 is the entire cryptocurrency market cap, excluding Bitcoin, I believe. And obviously we have the altcoin perpetual index and the DeFi perpetual index from FTX, which are going to behave very similarly. But it's pretty interesting how capital flows within the market and, what a market cycle looks like from all these different perspectives. So just wanted to share that.
It makes me wonder though, and this is why I've pointed this out in the past, because just looking at the two charts separately without seeing them overlaid like that, I mean, months ago I was noticing this correlation. I mean, even last year. And I'm just wondering how much new money is actually being locked up in DeFi versus money that's been there just rising and falling in value, because it looks like they track very closely, no?
Yeah. I mean, we've said it for a while that Ethereum is almost like an ETF for the alts and the altcoin market collectively. So, yeah, high correlation is definitely no surprise there.
All right. Very cool. Well, guys, thank you all for joining us and watching us today. I am going to leave you with a special couple of minutes of the ETrade Baby. This is what everybody wants. So here we go. And just replace ETrade with Voyager. And maybe that's what will happen in marketing. So,
Alex, giving the public what they want.
Oh, this is lame. Investors could lose tens of thousands of dollars on their 401k to hidden fees. Is that what you're looking for, like a hidden fee in your giant mom bag? Maybe I have them. Oh, that's right. I don't, because I rolled my account over to ETrade where, well, okay, they don't have hidden fees. Hey, Vern, the junk drawer? Why would they? Is that my gerbil? You said he moved. I'm running away. No, you can't come. ETrade, less for us, more for you.
This is weak, man. Frank's trying to not pay me my winnings for the skins beat down I just issued him because his 401k's tanking. Dude, you got to grab the reins, man. Get ETrade, do some analytics, do some research, and take charge so I don't have to subsidize your lack of golfing skills. On the cart path. Why don't you try reading the rules, Shankopotamus?
That works at ETrade. I'm freaking out, man. Why? I thought Jill was your soulmate. No, it's her dad. The general's your soulmate? Dude, what? No. He's on my back about providing for some little girl. Hey, don't worry. ETrade's got a totally new investing dashboard. Everything's on one page. Your investments, quotes, research. It's like the buffet last night. Whatever helps you understand, man. I'm watching you, watching him. Try the new 360 investing dashboard at ETrade. So this is Enzo, the artiste behind my wardrobe. You know, when I got him on ETrade, he was all like, "Oh no, I cannot do investing." That's actually perfect Enzo. But after a couple educational videos and a little hand-holding from customer support, next thing you know, he's got a stunning portfolio. Now he's planning to retire in Tuscany. We're both pretty emotional about it. Shh. Don't say a word. You're welcome. Riding the dog like it's a small horse is frowned upon in this establishment. Luckily, though, I conceal this bad boy underneath my blanket just so I can get on ETrade, check my investment portfolio, research stocks. Wait, why you take? Oh, I see. Solitary. Just a man in his thoughts. And a smartphone. Nobody knows. ETrade, investing unleashed.
oh my gosh. All right. That was beautiful. Hopefully that gave Steve a few ideas on future Voyager commercials if we don't steal them first at Trade the Chain Market Rebellion. But guys, thank you all for watching, especially you, Shankopotamus. And we will see you tomorrow. Happy hump day. Hang on to those handlebars. And we're off.